Beer Guys Radio Show On Demand is brought to you by Atlanta Brew Box, the experience of Georgia craft breweries with every box. Online at theatlbox.com. The Beer Guys Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 1 on Atlanta's AM 920, The Answer. Streaming to the world at beerguysradio.com. Proudly broadcasting from the AM 920 studios in Buckhead, Atlanta. It's the Beer Guys Radio Show, the only radio show in the South dedicated to art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer. Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams.
And it's the Beer Guys Radio Show back once again. I'm Aaron Williams.
I'm Tim Dennis.
And welcome to the show. We got a good one for you today, don't we?
We do. They're all good, Aaron.
Well, that's true. It's all good. And this is especially good today because we have got the guys from Wrecking Bar Brewpub in the house. Bob Standage, Neal Engleman. How you doing, guys?
We're great.
Doing great. Excellent. Pretty excited to talk to you. We've got a lot of things going on. We'll be talking all things Wrecking Bar, all things Brewpub. It'll be fun for today. So thanks for sticking around and joining the show with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, did you have a good week this week?
I did.
You did?
I had a busy week.
You were
good
busy.
Week,
Absolutely.
But, that's, like I said a little earlier, it's there's worse options to life than being busy.
That's true. And drinking beer, is a thing, so it's always good. So, hey, speaking of the Truck and Tap Beers of the Week, the guys at Wrecking Bar were certainly kind enough to bring us a couple. Dr. Funky.
Funke?
Dr. Funke. See, I knew I was going to mess that up because it's got umlauts over the U, and I took French, not German. Sour Pale Ale, and then also a Malt Lanta Doppel Sticky. I'm pretty excited to
They said that's
taste both of those.
Straight out of the tank there. We're getting some fresh
awesome.
previews of some beers here.
I love fresh beer. Much like fresh wine, it's always my favorite thing to have.
Fresh.
Maybe. No, that was a jerk reference if you didn't get that. Anyway,
did you go Steve Martin on us there?
Exactly.
All right.
I hate these cans. He hates these cans. Exactly. What did we drink this week? Well, I'll tell you what. I will start off, if you don't mind. I had a fun time the other day at Lincoln Fill Station. They had a Southern Brewing tap takeover, so I had a couple of those, including their Iron Maker Kolsch by Southern Brewing. Kolsch is usually a pretty tough style to make, and I think Southern did a pretty good job with that. Usually the ones I find are like really overly sweet, but this one wasn't so. Had a nice maltiness to it. I enjoyed that one. Another one I'm excited about, too, is the Wicked Weed Iron Lady Black IPA. I just had that one. That one was fantastic. Also, and I'm going to probably butcher this pronunciation as well, so maybe help me. It was a Belgian Brasserie Trois-Dames Lamoureux Rouge, actually.
I'm not even going to try that.
Okay, good. It was the French I took. I was pretty good. From Liberators, good sour ale, and also Redneck Riviera from Grayton Beer Company. And so, again, I was pretty busy. I was pretty excited about my beer list for
Sounds
today.
Sounds like a good list, sir.
It was.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't have the big list that you had last week, Tim, but it's still
not
pretty
like
impressive.
last week, but still did pretty good.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Speaking of Kolsch, there's actually a brew pub in Atlanta that makes a really nice Kolsch. So,
that would be, is that Wrecking Bar?
Yeah, that's them. You've heard of it.
I may have to try that someday.
That was on tap up in my neck of the woods. We've got a barbecue joint up at my place called Bubba Q's, and I went in there and they had that on tap. I'm like, well, I've got to have that with my barbecue. So that was a nice surprise to see it way up there in Woodstock.
Yeah.
So, but my list for the week, I went to a couple of events. I got to attend the soft launch of the Nest, new barbecue and craft beer bar up in Kennesaw.
Yeah, we saw your pictures on Instagram. It looks amazing.
Great food, great beer. Now they got swamped there. They actually got a little more than anticipated. They've had to close for a few days, or they've decided to kind of reorganize things there, and they'll be opening soon. They said watch for social media. They just want to make sure that they're giving the best service they can to everybody that comes in there.
AKA hire more staff. So
that's exactly what they did. Apparently they had a problem with their POS system. They put in a new POS, hired more staff, expanded space. So they're going to come back, and it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
So,
what do they have? About 60-some beers on tap?
59 taps total.
On tap.
So they've got, they got the regular, just regular taps, nitro taps. They've got nitro coffee, wine, draft wine. So good bottle selection and barbecue.
You guys have all the luck up there in Kennesaw.
We're doing okay up that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So besides that, I went to the Sweetwater 19th anniversary last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Got to check that out. Big event. Sweetwater always puts on a nice event there. The 19th anniversary ale is really good. And I saw that the bottles of that are hitting stores, so that's excellent. A little tart, wine barrel aged, so really good. Check that one out. The bourbon barrel aged stout that they have is drinking really good right now.
Okay.
They had a nice surprise. They had their Exodus Porter there on one of the draft trucks,
nice.
and that's one that they had discontinued.
I haven't seen that
for a
while.
Porter.
Yeah.
So really enjoy that one. So I got to try the new Paradiso from Creature Comforts.
How was
one's
that?
nice.
Tart cherry
good.
And
it's cherry raspberry and one other fruit that I forget right now.
Cranberry.
That's
Okay.
it. Yeah. So, and it's funny that I forgot that one because to me that's the one I got got the most out of it was the cranberry there. But the fruit in this one's a little lighter, in my opinion, than some of the other ones. Still very refreshing, light. I still got a place in my heart for the passion fruit guava that they did. That's my favorite. And these guys, the Neal and Bob and Don, that's a good one. I really like that. So had their Get Comfortable IPA, and one that I've been looking for a while that a friend brought over, Brewery Ruse, their goose beer there, and very good. Reminded me a lot, again, pronunciations here, these French words of the Dry Fontaine. The character of it to me reminded me a lot of that. So they did really good. And one from Burnt Hickory that I got a little sample of, Angel Rat. Nice. Which is their Belgian Golden Strong Ale aged in wine barrels. It's a sour Belgian Golden strong ale. They're just putting it on. That's going to be coming to bottles soon. That's awesome. And really good.
Do you know if that's going to be tapped at their Burnt Hickory Fest too? Do you think?
I'm sure it will be. I know they've had some limited pourings there in the tap room. Okay, and that's one. They do plan to tap bottles, but this is the first one of their kind of long-term barrel-aged projects that they kind of give a preview of. So cool. There's some others on my list, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Yeah. So cool. We had a pretty good wine list. How about you guys? What was your beer list for today? Did you have anything of note over the past week or so?
Well, I've been drinking Sierra Nevada Pale Ale just because it's my go-to.
There you go.
Classic. And the Oscar Blues IPA. When it's fresh, it's amazing. I've got some that's about 4 weeks old right now. It's my go-to for sure.
Absolutely. And how about you?
I'll have to put a plug in for a new one we've got coming out for festivals this weekend. It's going to be our grapefruit and Spanish cedar Victor IPA.
Nice.
Interesting. It's interesting to see these different woods that you use. Everybody does bourbon, oak, know that. So I'm curious to check out, the cedar wood. It's interesting. That can be a very noticeable. The character of cedar is pretty unique.
Yeah, but when you mix cedar with an IPA, you get a lot of those piney notes anyway, and I think that might be something that could work. It's be like a West Coast IPA type of a thing.
It definitely works with ours because we use a lot of Columbus hops, so kind of the piney and the danky character you get from those hops plays well with the cedar, and then the grapefruit kind of rounds it out as well.
Well, cool. We'll definitely got to talk about that in our next segment, but first let's get to some news, Tim.
News.
Last week we talked a little bit about the dearth of craft beer breweries in my neck of the woods in Gwinnett, and lo and behold, I found one. It's very exciting, yes.
I thought we'd agreed not to build any breweries over your way.
I think they did, but I think they broke the rules this time. I visited the guys at 1821 Brewing in Lawrenceville. They're just starting up. In fact, they're talking to the city to try and make sure that they got the variants and permissions, but they've got an old building. It's off of Clayton Street, which is kind of off of the downtown area, opening that up, just starting to build, just starting to get their recipes together. They say they're about 8 months to a year from opening. So 1821 Brewing, check them out on Facebook. They'll have some updates, and they invite people over to kind of try their beers and give them their tasting profiles and see what they like and don't like. So it's nice. You went to a brand new place too.
I
just
did.
Now.
I actually just stopped by earlier. That's Naughty Soda that's open up in Marietta. We did a little write up on them on the site, so decided to check them out. They invited me to kind of get a preview. They're licensed now, so they're doing hard sodas, all natural hard sodas. And they'll have beer as well through they're calling it Ironmonger Beer Company. Yeah. So that's went by, sampled some of their apple pie soda. One thing I commented there is it tastes like apple pie. A lot of apple sodas taste kind of apple-y.
Yeah, kind of like the Jolly Rancher type of taste. Yeah,
they said that they've got just tons of apple pies they throw in the nice. tank, and that's how they get the flavor like that.
That's perfect. Well,
but super nice guys there. Mm-hmm. It's going to be neat. They're going to have they admitted that maybe hard soda isn't for everybody, so they're going to have some beers there on the tap room, but as well as their hard sodas.
And of course, hard root beer has been the rage over the past 18 months or so. And so it's kind of nice, of course, not only to have a hard root beer local company, but to have different kind of tastes as well. So, it may not be something you drink every day, but you know what? I'd be interested to have a really nice hard ginger ale. I think that'd be really nice for cocktails and those types of things. So
yeah, they have one called Jamaican Ginger that's a ginger beer, which is going to be a little more bite to it than a ginger ale.
Like the Goslings, nice. Like those kind of really bitey kind of ginger.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one.
Those are great. So yes, and speaking of, again, Gwinnett, new openings, we have another mystery, and we're kind of going forward a little bit to this. Now, we talked about last week Locomotive Brewing. Right. We have a slight update to that, Tim. Can you fill us in?
I basically got told to leave it alone for now. That's my update. So I was speaking to a friend that knows the guys with, I was told that it is Locomotion Brewing, not Locomotive, and my friend who knows him was told, and don't tell him anything else. Okay. So that's what we know right now.
So we know it's Locomotion Brewing. We know it's in Chamblee, and that's about all we know.
So basically what it is these guys, they're working on their branding and identity and all that, and they just don't want a lot of information out right now, which is understandable. So we have to be greedy with trying to find out everything we can.
That's our job.
But,
yes.
So that's what we know for now, and when they have some more info to share, we'll update that.
We've got some good news, too, for a couple of local breweries. Paste Magazine, they, of course, every once in a while will come out with their top 20 blind taste different styles of beer, and they just did a pale ale blind tasting test. I believe it was 83 different beers they sampled blind. Two of local brews came out in the top 20. A couple of classics, actually. The Sweetwater 420, which really was the first local craft beer that I had. They came in at number 19 on the blind tasting, and Wild Heaven's Let There Be Light came in at number 11. So good news for them.
Yeah, very cool. I was talking to a friend about the Sweetwater 420, and just that anybody who's not really into beer, but just that's Atlanta.
Yeah.
That beer says Atlanta for a lot of people.
Yeah, and you can find that on tap pretty much anywhere, and that's kind of ubiquitous.
Absolutely.
So that's what I usually is my fallback beer whenever I'm out with the family or something like that. Finally, one more note of news we have. And do you have something, Tim?
No, I'm sorry. No.
We're going to talk about some big news, I think, later on in the show about a resolution, something that's happening in Georgia's legislature.
Yep, we'll cover that.
But Tuesday is Super Tuesday. Of course, a big election's going on, and Sumter County is actually voting on Sunday beer wine sales. So the folks down at Americus may actually finally get to drink and buy beer and alcohol on Sunday. So I think one of the few counties that are remaining to be dry.
Good luck to
on
them.
Sunday. So good luck for them on Tuesday. It's the Beer Guys Radio Show. We'll be back with the guys from Wrecking Bar coming back right after this.
Hey, everybody, it's Scott from Burnt Hickory Brewery in lovely Kennesaw, Georgia. You're listening to Beer Guys Radio, Georgia beer for Georgia people.
Georgia radio for Georgia beer!
It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out. Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Georgia Radio for Georgia beer. Now, back to the Beer Guys.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I'm Tim Dennis.
And I'm Aaron Williams.
And we are here with Bob Standage and Neal Engleman from Wrecking Bar Brewpub. Gentlemen, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome. Yeah,
so we've opened a beer here. One of you want to tell us a little bit about what we're enjoying right now?
Yeah, so go ahead, Neal.
This is Dr. Funke Sour Pale Ale, and it's a hoppy sour, essentially. We kettle sour it to get the pH that we're looking for, about 3.5. Mm-hmm. And hot burst it completely with Azaka and Mosaic hops, so it's very, juicy, tropical, a touch of piney character from the Mosaic, and then we ferment it with a tropical IPA yeast from Omega Yeast Labs, which has a lot of pineapple, mango type fruit notes, and they work really well with the hops. So
yeah, it's really juicy. I mean, you look at it, it's opaque.
It's got that haze that is popular with the I guess the Northeast or New England style IPAs right now, which is really cool. And it's so I get a little touch of the pine and pineapple, real grapefruity.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
what I get too.
Tartness coming in on there. It's great.
It's kind of interesting for us to see the way the acidity makes the hops kind of smell. Just changes it completely versus a normal Saccharomyces, fermentation or a straight up IPA or pale ale. So
very cool.
And you say you'll be tapping it over the weekend into next week too?
This will be tapping tomorrow.
Okay, so that's excellent. So head to Wrecking Bar right now, check it out, and it's good stuff. The Dr. Funke. Okay, Bob. Now, how long has Wrecking Bar been around?
It'll be 5 years on Father's Day.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Tell
us a little bit about the backstory. What got you involved? You got kind of a funky history here. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, it is a little
in
different.
a good way. But
yeah, it is. So originally I was an engineer, electrical engineer. Started my company in 1994 and had that for 15 years and sold it in 2009. And now I've been homebrewing since 92. And, I think I actually drawn up my first business plan in 2002 for my brew pub. And it was going to be a small corner pub. Well, the small corner pub turned into much bigger when 3 days before I sold my engineering company, the bank-owned sign went up outside the Wrecking Bar. So Jeff Notrika, Inman Park Properties, had owned it, and he was asking way too much money for it. And at that point, started talking to the broker, and had several contractors come in with me, and we really kind of tried to refine, okay, what's our best case, worst case, and how much it's going to cost to renovate this. And because we knew we could probably get it for a steal as far as being bank owned, and we did, but it did cost quite a bit more.